Back up on the scene, nah, I mean.
Sit where I'm sitting, sip what I'm sipping, spit what I'm spitting. Take a listen to what they kicking. It ain't a topic that's out there that's too specific. We gon' talk about it and they gon' listen. This here's a revolution for all I mentioned. This here's a Novocaine just to numb your system. Weekly doses issues, get your prescription. Life and fan, but we ain't missed it. Let's do 06 wings around. Ask Mike and Pip. You got a topic, how to spit. Squeeze gon' rip. It's Season 7 coming to you live. We up in this. Hey, Season 7, we up in this. Life gon' be life, okay. 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 Life gon' be life, okay.
We talking
life.
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 Season 7, you ready?
Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Life Be Life It podcast. Back up on the scene, now I mean, I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J, still in the building like I ain't never left, boy, and it feels so good. Been a long time, Brody. We shouldn't have left them. Somebody got to eat. We still got people got to eat. Hey, what's good with you, my boy?
Man, but they know every time we leave, man, if we take a hiatus, man, we come back bigger and better. So y'all gonna be seeing a few little touch-ups going on, man, as we continue to push forward.
Yeah, heavy on the better, not on the bigger, though.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
2026, man, here we are, like, already. And I feel like 2026 is coming in with a bang. Hey, the bingo charts is lighting up because there's a lot going on. But bro, for 20 seconds, man, I want to talk about something that's getting ready to happen next month.
Yeah.
So y'all, next month, man, on the 5th, man, I'll be married 20 years, man. 20 years, y'all. And y'all got to understand that in our community, that means a lot to me not to have any side this or new kids on the side. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so, true. I ain't saying I'm perfect, but this is a great milestone, you know what I'm saying, for me, considering I didn't have a father, didn't have, two parents in the home. So I had to learn how to do this on my own. So, hey, shout out to God, man, because without him, I do not know where I'll be. What's going on with you, man?
Hey, man, just trying to keep marching forward, brother. 2026, it's a lot of things that we could complain about, but there's a lot more that we could be thankful, man, and give praise for. So we're gonna choose the latter, understanding that there's things that's gonna happen, and we're gonna talk about some things. When I say some things we'll talk about tonight. There's some things that are just that egregious and horrible in life. But when these things don't happen, when this anomaly doesn't happen, we just got to understand that life is still good. God is still good, and not live to look for that one thing that's going to set our life in a totally different trajectory. So, bro, I don't want to take up too much time, man. I want to kick season 7 off in a major way. So everybody know what we talking about, just the intro. Come out wherever you are. So, bro, we just going to do this like this, man. First off, before we even get it cracking, do me a favor, run this disclosure, because tonight is finna be like that. Run that for me, bro.
The views and opinions expressed on the Life Be Life in podcast are solely those of the artists, producers, guests, and hosts of the show. Any numbers, stats, or stated resources that are given, we do ask that you verify that information for yourself. The views and opinions expressed on the Life Be Life in podcast are solely
bars. So, approximately 460 to 800,000. 460,000 to 800,000 are reported missing a year in the U.S. alone. Bro, that equates to a child being reported missing literally every 40 to 68 seconds. Now, that right there alone is enough to grab your attention, right? But this is what's crazy. That number gets downplayed by their next statistic that over 90 to 93% they're endangered runaways, right? And that 98% of those that go missing, they get found. So what they do is, bro, understand 460,000 to 800,000 kids are missing a year. Approximately that equates to 40 to 68 seconds. They're going to downplay this number, and I'm going to get into the whys and the rhythms, everything later. But they downplay this by saying that 90 to 93% of all those that go missing, they're going to classify those as endangered runaways. They allocate only 1%, bro, to stranger abductions. And that gives a false perception that this is just a minor problem. See what I did? A minor problem. They give a false perception. But based on reports from the FBI, organizations like the NCIC, organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they tell a different story, as well as Vermont Homeland Security, bro. So 90, like we said, 90% of the reported missing children's, they say that they're solved quickly, that they're resolved quickly, right? 3 types that they're going to break this group down to. We have runaways, we have family abductions, and then we have stranger abductions. They also will go down and keep grinding this number and say that only 350 people a year, children a year, are missing because of stranger abductions. And we know that that's impossible. Okay. When we know for a fact that active cases, there's 30,000 to 90,000 active cases right now. But ideally, this is the gap. This is the gap because many targeted are unaccounted for. This is why there's a discrepancy from the 460 to 800,000. That is an incredibly insane gap, if you would agree. The reason why they're unaccounted for, bro, is because a lot of these children that are missing, they're being targeted as the homeless children, the forgotten abouts, those that might be struggling with a solid home environment. Maybe the parent isn't really concerned with the child, and so they'll go days, they'll go spend the night here or there. Oh, they normally they're gone for 2. So they will group this stuff together, right? 98% recovery rate. And that sounds amazing. If there's 800,000 that go missing a year, and I tell you that 98% of them are recovered, you would say, okay, there's a problem, but clearly we able to resolve it, especially when the FBI and all those other organizations I just got done stating, they say that they're resolved typically within hours of being reported abducted. That sounds great, but this is the main issue that we're going to hang our hat on tonight. There is a severe racial disparity between that remaining 2%. And I know some people will say, oh, it's always about black and white. Nope, I ain't even talking about that. And if y'all stick with us, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean and what will kind of compose this racial thing, right? So, bro, there is a link for Elon University. If you can put that up real quick, I want all the viewers, whenever you have your own spare time, this is something that you're able to go in and look at and ideally just see what's what. But we're going to post it on this particular page for you. But this Elon University, it's right inside of, it's in North Carolina, between Raleigh and little north of Charlotte. There is a journalist there. Her name is Julia Kearney. She is a white female, and I'm speaking on this because the article that she wrote in the state and area that she's in, and the exact titling of it all, it's a missing children's epidemic. She goes on to speak to particular things, bro, and I want to kind of get a little bit further into that as the show goes on. But what do you feel as far as if there is 460,000 to 800,000 kids missing a year, bro, where are these kids going?
I mean, can't be thin air. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we know trafficking is big. And, of course, there are some other things that we're going to get into. I just really feel like that in certain circumstances, based on the circumstance,
Mhm.
that some kids are designated as those runaways, or they're strung out, or you know what I'm saying, that they are a what's the word that they use? They're a curious child. So those
Mhm.
same resources are not necessarily dedicated all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but she attributes it specifically to exposure. And there's actually a book in a term that is coined not by the community that you would think. It is called the white woman syndrome and damsel in distress syndrome. And again, before anybody tries to attack the Life Be Life and podcast, this is an author, a journalist who was a younger white female that did this journalism and her efforts on campus under the supervision of her English teacher, who was also of the same community. And the reasoning for it was very alarming. And if anybody goes to that link, you can read the whole article in detail, as well as the references, because everything we talk about is not just we're pulling opinions. This is research with credible sources that we're pulling this from. So 2% can't be found, and ironically, majority of those children are Black or colored, Mexican, things of this particular sort. And so the actual article, bro, and I'm going to take just a few moments before we go to break. Give me a minute and a half. The article, America's Black children are missing, okay, at a high rate, and how the Amber Alert is at fault. Now, she references this and starts her article on December 16, 2019. Security camera footage of a Black teenager went viral. Some of our viewers in the life world, they might remember this story, some might not. A 16-year-old Carol Sanchez was being abducted by two men and forcibly pushed into a sedan. Despite this, bro, it took the police 12 hours to issue an Amber Alert. Fortunately, Ms. Sanchez was found unharmed 2 days later, and it was reported that the kidnapping had been staged. However, the fact that it took the police so long to issue the Amber Alert, that is what really shows the underlying racial disparity of this alert system. So in the United States, bro, like I said, 460,000 to 800,000 are reported missing every single year. This is what's deemed as, and there's actually an article and book title, and you all can go find it. It's called The Nation's Silent Mass Disaster. Okay. And ideally, again, we understand that that's a crazy number, but they'll try to flip it and make you feel good because 98%, they're going to be found. But we want to talk about the 2%. And again, she specifically states these numbers are promising, but the racial disparity of the statistics of the 2% are still missing, and it cannot go unnoticed. Black children make up 33% of all missing children's cases, bro. However, we only get 7% of the media coverage when it pertains to missing children. So when I talk about racial disparity, I'm talking about the media coverage. I'm talking about how much interest in the foot on the pedal to issue these alerts. And as discussed by the journalist Ms. Jada Moss in The Forgotten Victims of Missing White Women Syndrome, it's likely that 4 times more unsolved Black missing person cases that there will ever be than whites or Hispanics. So again, bro, I pose the question, where are they?
Indeed.
So when we come back from break, I want to get your thoughts just where we are so far. But when we come back from break, bro, we're going to share some information with our viewers that's going to kind of answer a little bit of the questions where they are. Because we all know that nobody's building new cemeteries. They don't have new cemeteries. And if every single year almost 1 million people go missing, at what point in the years will we have bodies that are just literally in the middle of the street? Where's the overflow? Okay. So there is a scheme, a plot, and a plan to all of this: financial, perversion, demonic. It all is wrapped up. Bro, what is, I just want to know your thoughts. What do you think is behind the children missing, in particular, certain communities more than others? Like, what is the deciding factor?
This is what I'm going to do to keep us on track tonight.
All right.
Let's run this break, and we're going to come right back with that answer.
Bet.
Do you suffer from a big head? 4, 5, 6, 7 head, 4 head, meathead? Well, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Life Be Life and Podcast. We have that prescription, that Vivo Lighting, for everybody who's got forehead.
Back up on the scene now, I mean.
From the Mind of Men, a 15-minute docu-series centered around the mind of everyday men, from hurt to trauma, to relationships and kids, mental health, mental anguish, and healing. Many men in our communities don't speak their truth, and this is a perfect opportunity to hear, learn, and grow together. Come take a ride with us. From the producers of the Life Be Life and Podcast.
Yes, sir. So,
Like
man,
that. Yeah.
So, just so right, myself and wife, we watching a series called Found,
Yeah.
and you know, and of course, we know things are exaggerated for entertainment purposes,
Mhm.
but I can remember, and I can't remember distinct names or situations, but I know that there's been quite a few kids, man, that parents came after the fact and was like, "Where was their Amber Alert?" I
Right.
feel like that some communities may feel like and think that when kids of a certain background, certain color, certain creed, certain dialect go missing, that it's like they was worthless. Like we never know what those kids could grow up to be. They could be, what I'm saying, they could have been the doctor that grew up to cure cancer. They could have been the doctor that grew up and knew how to rewire the brain for people who are paralyzed. We don't know how much that we've missed out on.
True.
What really kind of gets under my skin is that I've seen searches, even here in the, what I'm saying, in the 314-618 area, not 618-636, 5732, to where, child comes up missing. People, the neighborhood especially, are out in droves. I feel like that, especially in our communities, we give mixed signals. Follow me real quick before I kick it back. Those mixed signals are, on one side of the fence, it's stop snitching.
Yeah.
Then we say, oh, somebody's, saying, say something. If you see something, say something.
Yep.
But then we turn right back around. If we're in a dangerous situation, which we've talked about chivalry or shit before, some people are feeling like, am I putting myself in danger? Let me mind my
Mhm.
business. At the end of the day, I don't know what's going on. So I feel like in our community, there's not a strong, clear signal, because our babies are our future, man. If we continue to not have our babies grow up to be productive citizens of society, who's going to be running the government?
Yep. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Also, kind of, I want to just take a step back and really talk about some of the issues with Amber Alert, because like you said, you mentioned, the community coming out and really being supportive. And sometimes I feel like with these Amber Alerts, bro, when they go off, whether it's a TV or a phone, I feel like this is, society, we look at it almost more like a nuisance versus a call for action. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let me get this noise. Oh my God, stop the noise. Stop the, you know what I'm saying? It's not a call for action because it's not our child. It's not our family. So our level of awareness is one thing that is a factor. But even highlighting this article and what is reported, Amber Alerts are an issue, bro. And Amber Alerts are an issue because there's a certain amount of criteria that has to be met just for it to even be qualified, bro. And so remember the story that I just told you, there was a 12-hour time frame. And you know, whether it's movies, whether it's things, we all grew up understanding that before somebody can be reported missing, there's X amount of hours that have to lapse as well. Like, why? If I'm telling you this is not the norm, why aren't you, what else y'all doing? Right?
Okay.
And so for these Amber Alerts, some of the issues are there's obvious and imminent danger, but we can't get to them because there's not enough. There has to be enough descriptive information. So for this to be labeled an Amber Alert, there must be reasonable evidence that an abduction has occurred. That means you got to have some proof. It can't just be somebody ain't come home from school or after practice. Okay, but if they not home, what else would have happened to them? But there has to be the stipulation. So again, it must be believed that the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. There must be enough descriptive information about the victim and the abductor, but I don't know who took them. I'm gonna give you that. And the child's information must be entered into the National Crime Information Center system. These are the guidelines for issuing an Amber Alert. So if any point in time that criteria can't be met, you don't get no Amber Alert. Now, this is the crazy part, bro. In the midst of me doing a whole lot of research over this past
as he was getting ready to lead into, it just seems like some people don't care. But while we waiting on him to return, man, we gonna go ahead and slide off to a song. Let me see what we got on the deck. I got it. Let's.
Yo, this is Ryan the Gamer, owner of the Snack Boys. You are now tapped into Life Be Life podcast.
They care about team too. Life be life, no cap.
Hey yo, life be lifing, so let's talk about it. Tune in now.
Man, if y'all haven't been tuned in to the Life Be Lifing podcast, y'all sleeping.
Back up on the scene, man.
Make sure y'all tap in on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. What's up, y'all? It's Big Joe Slicing here, man. And if y'all not on Life Be Lifing every Wednesday, man, what is you doing? I'm going to be tapping in, so make sure y'all tap in. Let's go.
It's Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Life Be Lifing. Oh, Life Be Lifing podcast you listening to? Oh, okay, that's what's up. Oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. The Life Be Lifing podcast is going on. And if you not tuned in, what are you doing? Life Be Lifing podcast.
8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Your host, Tony.
Come on, man. They know who the host is. Tony.
They already know. Hey, my bad, yo. It's just fast fingering stuff. But the Amber Alert itself has so many issues, so many different levels and layers and criteria has to be met. When that's not met, and because children have actually lost their life because of that, then what ended up happening was you had a young lady named Jolie Mutha, who was 16, and same way, it was so much time, actually days that had passed before the police actually said, you know what, let's go ahead and say that she's missing. 14 days later, she was found deceased. The highlight for that article when that dropped was, though we may not know the true outcome, it is more likely we would have found her had the search began substantially sooner. But did you know, bro, that the Amber Alert is not the only alert for children? So also, like I was saying before we went to that unplanned break, there was a young lady, baby girl. Her name is Raya, 2 years old. And Raya, unfortunately, lost her life in the same manner to an abductor. There was an act passed on Miss Raya's behalf because the criteria was not met for an Amber Alert. If you're at work and your child is supposed to come home from school, daycare, whatever, and they don't get off the bus, who abducted them? So because you don't have that, you couldn't do anything. So because of Raya, there was ideally an alert pass called the Raya alert, and it is set to capture or assist the recovery of children when that information can't be met. Bro, but this was the problem that I came across. There's only one state that acknowledges the Raya alert, and that's Florida itself. When ironically, though, ever since they implemented the Raya alerts, the abduction and everything has decreased, even from a large state like Florida that has the import and export. And we all know from movies we've seen since the 80s, that's even where the drug and the crime scene, because it's just so much, all the money that comes in. But even in somewhere like that, because of the Raya alert, it is reduced. Why would more states adopt the Raya alert, bro? It's crazy, right? Bro, what if I told you, you know I love you, so I tell you you're valuable all the time, right? But do you understand how valuable you really are? Most of us don't.
Yeah, to a degree.
So when we ask this question, bro, and the topic is come out wherever you are, where are they? The missing children epidemic. And we talk about the value. Bro, I want you to understand that per the presidentsresearch.com, as of November 19, 2025, the melanin market. So when I tell you, bro, that you're valuable, I'm speaking real life. Bro, you're valuable. The average ethnic person of our background has enough melanin that is equivalent to $40 million. Why? Because melanin is worth $725 a gram. Why is this important, bro? The global melanin market is valued as of November 19, 2025, which ain't that long ago, as $162.77 million industry. It is projected to raise to $174 million this year of 2026 alone, and over $300 million by the year 2034. Now, when I say 2034, I know the listeners like, dang, that's great. No. Get your mind wheel back in. I want you to understand that's only an 8-year projection, right? So why is melanin important? Melanin is what our body naturally does. It's a UV protection, skin treatments, cosmetic lines, right? When you're talking about cancer restoration, skin protection, any of those things, melanin is going to be a part of it. North America, bro, actually dominated this market with its largest market share back in 2024. So North America is leading the charge. Can melanin be harvested, bro? It absolutely can. It's commonly extracted by breaking open tissue and extracting the melanin with alkali. So when we start to think about some of these missing children's, or they're discovered unalived and they're being written off legally as suicides, but when the autopsy report is revealed, there's organs missing, there's skin missing, tissue missing. Again, melanin, $725 a gram. You're valuable. Now, the size, the darkness, these things increase it. Remember that old saying, bro, the darker the berry, sweeter the juice?
Man, that's
the
crazy.
Darker the berry, indeed, financially, the sweeter the juice. And that is exactly what they're trying to squeeze.
Wow.
This is a good time because I know that's a lot for people, bro. I know it's a lot for people. If you can, we should have a clip. This clip, bro, should be from, I believe it is from a rabbi. And it is a very candid interview. I came across this interview 2014, if I'm not mistaken, 2013 possibly.
All right.
And
is it the short one or the long one?
Let's run the short one. We should have more than one short one. I want the lifers, and I want to go forward, because the next things that I'm saying, and even what I just said, I know some things seem far-fetched, but you got to hear from somebody else.
Let's do it.
Let's get
what we gonna do? We're gonna run this. We're gonna go immediately to break so they can soak it in.
Absolutely. And we're gonna come back and talk about it. Absolutely.
Sir.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that, but I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice.
All right, y'all.
Yep.
So this commercial break, we're going to take a quick time out, man, just to talk about our sponsorships. Bro, go ahead and let them have it, man.
Look at it. Sponsorships are definitely needed. I want y'all to partner with the Life Be Life and podcast. We got so many different tiers. We got so many different packages to present to y'all. Look, we trying to go somewhere. We want to take people with us. We gonna iron sharpen iron. Hit us up, 314-409-7187, or feel free to reach out to us at lifebelifeandpodcast.com. Y'all already know everywhere else to get at us, and it's like that.
Indeed. All right, man. Quick break, and we're back already. So I want to know, man, the video that y'all just saw, and it was a short one. So just in case y'all wasn't paying attention, because I'm seeing some reactions pop in, let me hit them one
Well,
more
that's
time.
very interesting. I understand that, but I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice.
All righty. So
We're gonna let them digest. I want them to digest that, bro. Like you said, you're gonna take us to break. When we come back, we're gonna hear just a little bit more about that before we get back and kind of integrate that into this topic. But hopefully, lifers, y'all can kind of understand what I'm saying, that this is a little bit bigger. So when I say come out wherever you are, understand that there's a lot of particular things that's taking place. Real quick, bro, actually with this particular interview, when I came across it, this is before TikTok. I understand it's been shared there this is way before that. Again, this is 13, 14 years ago. And I came across this, and the level of candid that this gentleman who's a rabbi presents is, I'm telling you the truth because you're not going to believe it anyway. And there's nothing you can do about it. And he goes on, we will post it on here, the full hour and some interview. But he goes on to specifically answer the question, bro, do you want to know why you can't find the kids? Do you want to know why there's over 1 million kids missing and you can't find a nan single one? Because you ate them for breakfast. These are his exact words. You eat them for your breakfast sandwiches. You eat them for your hamburgers for lunch. And then goes on to speak about in the other countries how they have relationships with the larger meat markets. All they're doing is grinding everything, bro. You ain't never tried to figure out why a cheeseburger tastes different than a quarter pounder. If it's the same 100% beef, why does one taste different? Anyway, you could take us to break, bro, and we'll break that Dutch down when we come on back.
You know what? The break gonna be the second clip we got.
Hit them up.
Ourselves, because we're both going to make a lot of money. It's just who's going to make a little more on this deal and who's going to make a little more on that deal. The bottom line, though, is we have the Goyim. The Goyim does all the work. The Goyim makes all the stuff. He sells it to us for pennies. We're the wholesalers. We're the middlemen. We mark it way up and sell it to the other goyim on the retail side. There's an old saying in Yiddish that the reason that God made Gentiles is because somebody has to pay retail. It's not going to be the Jew for sure. The Jew doesn't pay retail. It's the goyim that pays retail. We buy wholesale.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that. But I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice on Passover.
Well, there was a goyim that wrote a book about it back in the 30s. I forget his name at the moment. But anyway, he wrote the book. People didn't buy the book. People don't want to listen. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years, since down to Adam's time. We take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues where we...
Hey.
Yeah, we'll cut that there, bro. And it's a multitude of reasons why. First off, I want to say this on behalf of the Life Be Life, and bro echoes my sentiments. There's some comments that we don't agree with. I'm not even really 1,000% certain what the term Goyim means, but I have a really good indication. And if so, if it indeed is a term that I, in the midst of just hearing that, I apologize, but I wanted to give that in its most purest and organic form, because that content cannot be denied. And again, we're going to have the full link once this episode is over. It will be on the Life Be Life and page. You can go listen to that full thing for yourself. You're going to be blown away. Bro, what is your thoughts as you're kind of hearing that? And I don't know, it might be the first time. You might have came across it before, but what's your thoughts?
I mean, for real. When you get out your feelings and get out your emotions and you kind of take a step back, is it really that far-fetched? Because, like, I've noticed, and I know everybody has noticed, you're eating a piece of ground beef and you're like, man, what is this? Like, how is it a whole gristle in ground beef? Like, where did this come from? In my burger.
A little bone,
bro.
A little bone.
Yeah, it ain't that far-fetched because, and y'all, let's say this. We were giving out the information. Again, you heard the disclosure. We're simply talking about it on an even playing field. I understand that for some people, if this conversation is a little too sensitive, we understand it. And we thank you for tuning in thus far. But, if this is too much, we understand. Do your thing. But for everybody who's running it up right now and just trying to see what's going on, like when we sit back and we think about it, like chicken. I got some chicken from Walmart, man, last year. And I'm a chicken connoisseur, you know what I'm saying? I can cook chicken 3, 4, 5, 10 ways. And I normally make my wings in the air fryer, make my little orange hot sauce and brown sugar, toss it over them, you know what I'm saying? And throw them in the oven for a little bit, let that all coagulate and all that. So this particular day, man, I made this chicken and I'm chewing it. And, I feel like, and this is my right hand, my wife knows because we talked about it. So as I'm chewing on this chicken, man, like every time I go to swallow, my body is like, I don't want you to swallow that. And I'm like, what is going on? So as I chewed the chicken up, I noticed that the skin wouldn't break it down either. And I noticed, pardon me, out of all the ways I cook that chicken in the air fryer, because I put it on the air fryer, high heat, you know what I'm saying, cooks the fat, makes the skin crispy. toss it, throw it in the oven, let it do its thing.
You couldn't bite that skin. You had to just let it go.
Yeah, man. And from that point forward, and I don't mind saying it, you know what I'm saying? We got that from, you know what I'm saying, Wally World.
Mm-hmm.
And from this day forward, I would not buy wings from Wally World because that one bad experience, and matter of fact, it might have been more than once, because I was like, man, this is twice.
Mm-hmm.
So when we really look at how people are consuming meat, steaks, burgers, hot dogs, sausages, all these barbecue places. I mean, like, y'all, I ain't
enough
trying to be
meat
sick,
in
and
the
I ain't trying to be
world.
gross.
Ain't enough meat in the doggone world, bro. Just if you just take the fast food industry alone and how booming that is, right? It ain't enough cows getting cranked down a day. Not to mention was being cooked in the American households. Not to mention was being cooked in the everyday restaurants. Not the fact that even most restaurants got a burger on the menu. We ain't talking about Mickey's burger. You heard me. Rotel,
enchiladas,
spaghetti, tacos.
Man.
Nobody had a beef shortage. We had a chicken wing shortage. So when you listen to this full interview and he tells you the reason why is because you're eating them. And they're actually selling these kids there. Now, understand what I just did as I'm bringing you full circle. We just talked about what. Now, here's the example of where they're going, why they're going, because of the melanin and the money. There's also something that is called a melanin theory, bro. There's a melanin theory, okay? And this is real rap. Anybody that's got, if you got your phones out, if you got Google in by your possession, theory is Wikipedia. You can actually look up Wikipedia and find out what the melanin theory is. It is a set of pseudoscientific claims made by some proponents of Afrocentrism, which holds that the higher levels of melanin, it leads to superior mental, physical, and paranormal powers. Now, that paranormal powers was something that caught my attention, because then I start to think about the anointing that you see in certain communities that appears to then be denomination-based or faith-based, right? Oh, they this because they apostolic Pentecostal. They holy of holies. They da. These people do this and this. True. But the melanin theory is stating that the darker the skin, the melanin level increases, which has you into your super powers, your paranormal powers, which will be that spiritual realm, which means you can get that closer connection and hear a little bit better from God. So when people are saying, thus say the Lord, and you start to look at the anointing, I bet you it's melanin attached. But anywho, the individual response to social stimuli is also a part of the levels of melanin, bro. And I ain't just kicking nothing off the top of my dome like I like to. You understand? This is all by historian Stephen Ferguson, who relates the biological and the social aspects. So I'm going to continue to present to some that the reason why we can't find some of these kids is based on their color. So understand in the beginning when I said racial disparity, and I wasn't talking about the hatred of blacks, I'm talking, or the hatred of brown. I'm talking about the value, my boy, because you're valuable. And most of us can be up to $40 million because your skin is $750 per gram. However, why and who are they targeting? We talked about the at-risk. These are the vulnerable populations like the homeless youth, those with disability, right? Marginalized groups such as the indigenous people and those of color, okay? Counter trafficking data speaks to this. It speaks to it. 2019 U.S. censuses, they speak to it. They speak to why blacks only make up 13.4% of the population, bro. We blacks as a whole, 13.4% of the overall population that is on this planet. However, nearly 40% of the missing children that come up missing are black. So remember in the beginning when I told you that 2% sounded like it's doing real good because 98% get found? Now we're understanding that those that don't, disparity. Y'all also can go to charliesproject.org if y'all want to really peep that out. We have some still clips, bro. If you can put some of those pictures up, because when we talk about, and we have, again, we're going to have various links that we're going to have up from the Missouri Patrol. Now hold that right there. Now, lifers, I know it's in black and white. I want you to pay attention to some few things. Now, that very first name, Miss Barnes, this lady is missing, and she's actually missing, and she was reported missing from the St. Louis Metro Police. Okay? It shows the date of birth. If you notice beside that, there is a color that is associated with her race. Bro, my eyes ain't always what they used to be. So if you don't mind, that very, very first one, Cherie Barnes, she's a female. Bro, what nationality does it say she is?
Wait a minute.
Can you see that?
I see that.
What nationality, bro? Just for those that might be driving out there, it says that she is a white little girl. Now, I want y'all to keep in mind, we already talked about the discrepancies that the Amber Alert didn't go out because we don't know who took her. I know, but that's why we doing this. Come out wherever you are. This is why we talking about this. So how can we find somebody, bro, when we're posting them? And this, if you notice, this is the active missing children's list. Y'all can Google it. Every state will have it. You can Google it. That is not a white girl. How can we find Miss Barnes? Bro, look at the one below that. Now, we don't know what her race is. We also don't know what she looks like. There's no picture. You really want me to believe that somebody reported that their child is missing and they didn't have one single picture to contribute? Okay. Bro, let's go down to the next one. Miss Juana Castro. I don't know much about much, but I'm 99.999% certain that Miss Castro is not a white female. If you look at that, it's striped all the way down. Let's go to Mr. Edgar, sir. Mr. Edgar, pretty brown, a lot of melanin for a white man. So, again, and you can take that down, bro. And if you don't mind, go ahead and put up the other picture that we got going. So as I'm referencing things, and I'm telling you all that there's a racial disparity between the 98% that they're saying gets found within hours and the 2% that doesn't. But the 2%, even though we only make a fraction of the population, make the majority of those that are never found. And I wonder why. Again, so when I talk about the melanin market, and you hear clips about people saying that they're sacrificing them, that's the demonic. And we hear people talking about that they're eating them for the financial gain. And we understand that people have done some of the most egregious things to set their family lineage up for thousands of years. And for those who don't understand that the pennies are now going away in the U.S. because we just got off of a 2,000-year contract with the Treasury to produce the pennies in paper. That's why every other nation has paper that or currency that looks the way it does, and we're the only ones still rocking the same old. And the only thing we can do is update a face on it because we in contract. Neither here nor there. Bro, if you don't want mine, go ahead. And again, we looking at how we gonna find them. Well, how we gonna find them? Go back one more time. Go back to that last one. Because I'm really don't think the viewers are catching on. Totally different person. Rogello. I'll let y'all try to pronounce that last name. There's no picture. Again, look at the race. It says white. I don't know what this child looks like that I'm going to be looking for here that was investigating agency at St. Louis Metro Police. This child has been missing since January 2022. A little over 4 years. And we don't have a clue who we looking for. We just know that they're 19 now. Forgotten person. Next one, Alexandra. Again, don't know much. Looking at the last name, it's not a white female. And look, you know what I'm saying? We can go on and on and on. Go to the next one, bro. And this is the last one I'm gonna hang my hat on before I give you the little playback. And I apologize for doing a whole lot of talking. even more so. This is a 16-year-old. I went to a whole different site. This is the same Rogello. Okay. This child, he disappeared at 16. 4'9", 90 pounds. 4'9" and 90 pounds at 16 years old, bro. What does that tell you about this child?
Small.
Tells me a lot. A child that is 16 weighing 90 pounds and 4'9" usually speaks to some type of disability or growth deficiency that is causing them to be small in stature and not fully developed. But again, there is no picture. There also is no Amber Alert. And there can't be an Amber Alert because we don't know if the child is in imminent danger, bodily injury, or death. We don't know anything about the abductor, and we can't report it. But I implore you, and I'm asking, how will we find this child? Missouri Patrol, Highway Patrol post these. And in no way, shape, or form have we reached out, tried to update anything. How are we going to find folks, bro? And this is the investigating agency that has the incorrect races, lack of pictures. Your thoughts?
I really don't have thoughts, bro. Like, let me get this out the way real quick. It's crazy, man, that this is the type of world that we're living in right now, man. And we got to do everything that we can in our power. And you know what? We're not even going to another break. This is what we're going to do. We got to make sure, man, that we do everything in our power because it does take a village.
Mm-hmm.
Also, remember that what if it was someone in your family? I don't have kids. What if it was a niece? What if it was a nephew? What if it was a cousin, sister, brother? We've gotten so used to minding our business and have tunnel vision or pulling out our phones, you know what I'm saying, in certain matters, that I feel like that we've been desensitized to what real danger looks like nowadays. Think about it, y'all. When somebody's shooting, we pulling out the phone. Somebody fighting, somebody pulling out the phone. Somebody's driving crazy through traffic and hitting cars, somebody pulling out the phone.
Yeah.
Our babies, man, again, you know, they are a precious commodity. We talked about them a little while ago, man. We got to continue to invest in them. We got to continue to make sure that we build them up for the future. And facing all the stuff that they're facing, whether it's being lured off of video games, because video games is now like we were riding bikes. Everybody's playing the video games. Everybody's online because this is how the games are made nowadays. You have to be online to get the full capabilities. Yeah. Some of these games have chat rooms, so some of our kids are being lured out of our homes. You know what I'm saying? Some of our kids are missing school, reaching out to a stranger. Y'all, we got to know where our kids are. We got to know what they're up to, who they're with. I'm gonna lead this. So a few months ago, there was an NBA YoungBoy concert downtown. My son, you know, he works, bought his own ticket. I'm like, he's like, Daddy, can you drop me off over my friend's house, my homeboy house? You know, we go Uber down there. I need this homeboy name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I made sure I grabbed the address because if anything happens, yes, the first place I'm gonna start downtown, but the next place I'm coming back is to this house. We can't allow our kids just to be out and about because so many dangers, so many predators are out there. You know what I'm saying? To lure them in. The absolute last thing is when your child opens up to you, you may not agree to how and what they're opening up to you about, but understand that you're their parent. Even though that you may disagree, you're the one or two people, you know what I'm saying, in their lives that's supposed to love them unconditionally. I'm about this joint.
Yeah, and in playing, there was a verse that I always used to love from the rap world. And I remember for several years, I would just randomly, spit it out. Within the past 3 years, bro, the opening bars to Killer's song really hit different. And so now I don't have that same feeling and energy no more when those words come across my brain and I hear it's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. It don't feel the same no more because now the climate is totally changed. And so as we kind of wrap up tonight and we talked about the epidemic, this crisis, and for those who are just now tuning in, the crisis is that we're averaging between 460,000 and 800,000 missing children a year. And the reason why that is such a bar in between, you can have 460 to 500, 700,000, 800, but to almost have a double the gap of missing, it speaks to a lot of the hidden, the cover-ups, the agendas, this person, this age, there's a lot. And again, we're going to have posts for that. So as we talked about, looking out for the children and all the dangers, this is the checklist I want to present to parents. Because though we cannot fully protect our children 100% of the time from things, we can empower and prepare as best as possible to respond. So starting tomorrow, parents, I want you to pay a little bit more closer attention to some things. What are your children wearing when they walked out that house? What are your children wearing? If you can't close your eyes while you at work and see your child from head to toe with everything they have on, that's the first thing that you need to correct. Second thing, and bro, you just mentioned this, where are their likely hangouts? Who are the people that they would be most likely to associate themselves with, and places or people that they will hang around? Okay, this will kind of help you in just your everyday conversations. But again, if anything goes wrong, where will we start? How recent of a photo do you have of your child? Way too many times, bro, I'm seeing somebody missing and the child is 12, 9, 8, let's say, and the photo that they're using was when they're 3, 4 years old, 5 years old. Features have changed, heights changed. I don't know what I'm looking for no more. And this too is the reason why a lot of people during these Amber Alerts, they shut it down and they just go about their business, because what you're telling me, it won't be what I see. What plan have you spoke of with your family if this were to ever happen? If something ever happens to you, I need you to call this number. If something ever happens to you, back in the day, our parents used to tell us always, keep enough money on you to make a phone call. Maybe at some point, parents, we need to find a way to either, first off, all of our kids' phones should have their locations on. You should have your child's location. That's first. There should also be something in the midst of, I don't know whether it's find something cool that can go on their clothing that also can be a tracker. But you're going to have to find some way to where if there's an emergency, you can track your child. And though you might be at work, what is the backup plan? I already know when I'm at work, I'm on this side of town, but I know where my brother is. And I know if it's anything and I can't get to where I need to ASAP, I'm going to send my brother en route first, and vice versa. What's your game plan, parents? So as I conclude my soapbox, I want to extend my deepest and most sincere thoughts, prayers to those who are still actively missing. For those children that are actively missing, and maybe your abductor is trying to warp your mind and make you think folks ain't looking for you. I want you to know that people are still looking for you. There are just some things in place that is making it very difficult for us to find you. My ask for lifers is that when we end this episode, I want you to share it. I want you to start to pay better attention to your Amber Alerts. I want you to take 30 seconds when that alert goes off and ask yourself, if this is my child, what would I want somebody to do? When you're on Facebook and somebody's child is missing, I don't care if it's in 3 states over. It doesn't take nothing to share it. Even if you're never the one to see somebody, maybe you're the reason that share it and they're found. Take the time and treat somebody else's child with the same decency, care, and concern as if you were in that situation and all the hurt and things that you would have. So, bro, it's a lot. We're going to spin this thing back. You want to tell the people what's coming up next, man? I know we dropped heavy bars and bombs on this one. And there's a lot more information. There's a lot more interviews that they're going to hear that's going to continue to wow them just for the sake of our safety. I'm going to keep it a bean. There's some stuff we're not going to play because we don't got the money to provide the type of security that we need for some of the things that are being spoke of.
Indeed. Just keep a lookout on the page for the promos, you know what I'm saying? Because we're always sharing them. You'll see what's next. But on that joint, man, we're going to get out of here on the night. Hey, season 7 kicked off with a bang. And understand that life is going to keep on lifing, and we're going to be here to talk about it. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. Still in the building like I ain't never left, and it feels so good. We going to see y'all on Wednesday, man. Y'all stay safe. Do what it do.
Back up on the scene, nah, I mean.
Sit where I'm sitting, sip what I'm sipping, spit what I'm spitting. Take a listen to what they kicking. It ain't a topic that's out there that's too specific. We gon' talk about it and they gon' listen. This here's a revolution for all I mentioned. This here's some Novocaine just to numb your system. Weekly doses issues, get your prescription. Life and fan, bro, we ain't missed it. That's true, since rings around, ass Mike and Pip. You got a topic, how to spit. We gon' rip. It's season 7 coming to you live. We up in this. Hey, season 7, we up in this. Life gon' be life, okay. 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 Life gon' be life, okay.
We talking life. 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 We talking life.
Season 7, you ready?